It's here. Yes, it's finally here. The season finale of Rings of Power Season 1. And I can hear some of you saying, hold on, season finale, but nothing's happened yet. Surely they're only just getting started. No. And where are these so-called Rings of Power? I haven't seen a single one yet, and it's a decent statement, really. I mean, I can only imagine at this point it refers to each one of Elrond's sphincters, if you know what I'm saying. The thing I'm thinking about right now is, what's the catch? What's the hook for Season 2? What's going to happen in this episode that makes me say, yes, I have to see Season 2? And also be prepared to wait for it. Because I think current predictions are 2024. So it's going to be at least 2 years till we see Season 2. And that's at the least as well. So it's going to be a decent wait. Eesh. I mean, my current theory is Galadriel dies in this episode. Yeah. That's as far as I've got with that theory so far. But come on! If I told you that Galadriel gets yeeted into Mount Doom and dies a slower death than Gollum, tell me you wouldn't be more prepared to watch Season 2. Be honest. Now do forgive me, because watching, 8+ hours of this show has somewhat fried whatever brain cells I did have left. Some of my loved ones have considered buying me one of them jackets that, does up at the back. You know what I mean? Am I the only one that thinks that the use of overlays is just lazy? Don't get me wrong. I know that the world of Middle-earth, it's a big place. There's lots of places, lots of names, especially if you've got a load of new viewers who have not seen any of the previous films or read any of the books. I get it. It can be quite a hard thing to do, but using overlays, there are better ways of going about it. Now, although I thought The Wandering Song was the worst thing to be produced since Napalm, it did work in the map, into the cutscenes. It did, to show you where they were going, and that was a decent way of doing it. The map's synonymous with The Lord of the Rings, everyone recognises that. And also, for newer viewers, it gives people a good idea of where things are in relation to each other, as well as, distance. That's an alright way of doing it, but an overlay, just slapping where you are on the screen and saying, here we are, it's just lazy. You could have worked it into the dialogue, maybe, but no. I mean, maybe it's just me, but for me, it ruins the immersion. Whoa, not Gandalf has definitely been spending too much time with the Harfoots. He looks terrible. Then it turns out that the apple that Stinky Frodo gave to not Gandalf could be one of the 7 Palantir.
You're not a parent.
Why is the apple talking? Okay, I'm being a little obtuse. I know that it's, the voices in his head, but these kinds of scenes in film, this is the kind of thing that happens when, when a character dies, and then one of the other characters usually ends up in possession of one of their items, and then later on in the film, they look at this item, and then you get some, flashbacks of them saying some inspirational stuff from earlier on in the film. They start hearing it now, and it helps them get over whatever it is that they've got to get over at that point. This, however, is not quite that. This is a homeless guy who can barely talk, who fell out of the sky, decided to help a bunch of dirty little people who hated him, by the way, and at their earliest convenience gave him an apple and told him to piss off. And now the apple's talking to him. This is genius, people. Then, not Gandalf sees Nori in the forest. Nori, by the way, being a word for, dry seaweed? Fitting, really, because she does look like, she smells like something that's been dragged out of the ocean. Anyway, not Gandalf sees Nori in the forest and chases after her, but all is not what it seems.
Nori.
Now again, I have to preface this clip with, these episodes cost 50 million each. Witness what is possibly one of the worst transitions I've seen in modern film, let alone in one of the most expensive shows. They used these kinds of cuts back in the 1940s when they were making films, and they did a better job of this. Even I can produce a shot like that. I'm going to produce a shot like that. Hold on. Get ready though, you're about to have your mind blown with some billion-pound production. You ready? How did my hat change colour like that? Houdini! So it turns out that D12 think that not Gandalf is Sauron. Little do they know though that not Sauron, aka Halbrand, is actually Sauron. It's a classic case of mistaken identity. Unlucky Sauron simps. And I love how shocked not Gandalf seems by all of this, but you can tell he's such a simpleton, he's just thinking, Where did the apple go? And we're once again treated to a shot of Galadriel looking really weird on a horse, but don't worry, she's not smiling this time. No, she's just in like a Steven Seagal style slow motion. I'm not sure if it's the frame rate or what, but this shot just looks janky as hell. And pause it, and she's just straight up out of focus half the time. And before you say, but Jonny, it's just motion blur. But like the kind of speeds you'd have to shoot at to get slow motion, you wouldn't get motion blur like that. Unless they chose to shot in 24p and then decided to slow it down later on using some like clever new like frame interpolation or of some sort. But even then, that would be bad filmmaking. My God, I've never been so happy to see Celebrimbor and that sexy little moo-moo of hers.
If only there was some way of doing more with less.
Well, I don't know a whole lot about all that, but if you speak to the people who made this show, they'll definitely be able to teach you a thing or two about making less with more.
Got him!
We must inform the High King of our failure, and then the elves must prepare to abandon these shores. Forever.
Goodness me, it would seem things are not looking too peachy for the elves. They've not been able to steal all the mithril off those pesky little selfish dwarves. But the thing is, we know that the elves are in the Third Age. Very much alright. Still living on Middle-earth, so we know everything's okay in the end. Spoilers, I guess. Sorry. Oh, it's all doom and gloom for the elves. They're all about to die. Nothing could possibly get any worse. And then Galadriel turns up. Oh, fabulous. Maybe you could put them all out of their misery and just, I don't know, patronise them all to death.
Galadriel?
I'm sorry, was it not an episode or two ago that she was bragging about her unparalleled eyesight? You know, the eyesight that all elves are supposed to have, and now she can't even spot a bisexual elf when he's like 3 feet away from her?
We rode without rest. Can you help him?
Well, that's a fine how'd you do, isn't it? I mean, you've literally just got here, Galadriel. He's not even looked at him. How does he know if he can help him? Does he know what's wrong with him? You got to book appointments on the phone before you go. We all know this. Rookie mistake.
How is it your path crossed with his? How is it you are here?
How is it you are here?
He just asked you a question. You don't have to be a dick your whole life. You could have just answered, why are you here? Why are you here? She's an actual child. The writers and Murray Clark have single-handedly managed to create one of the worst depictions of a character I can put. Can you think of a worse one? Go on, name a worse depicted character. Like, it's got to be like from something, obviously, so there's something to reference. Like, I can't think of one. Can you? Anyway, that's the topic for another video that I will be making, by the way. So do stick around if you want to see that. I will be doing like a big breakdown about just Galadriel, because God knows I've got a lot of thoughts about. But like I say, that's for another time. So Galadriel has just answered Elrond's question with a question. Do either of these questions get answered? No, of course they don't. Filler dialogue. Filler dialogue in the season finale. Why?
Come, we have much to discuss.
Well, going off how this conversation is going so far, no you don't. So they're talking, and without prompt, Elrond immediately begins to profusely apologise to Galadriel because she was sent to Valinor for being a dick her whole life. Why? Because girl boss. That's why. You go, girl. And I'm talking about Galadriel this time, not Elrond.
I leapt from that ship. I knew that somehow my task here was not yet complete.
Very true. She's not been able to patronise the Harfoots yet. She's not been able to belittle the dwarves. See what I did there? She's not been able to speak to the Ents manager. Now some of you might be thinking, Ents? Yeah, Ents. They should still be around. Somewhere. How do you race swap an Ent though? I mean, I guess you make them oak rather than birch. That's a dumb joke, but I like it.
I did not cross that bitter ocean.
I'm sorry, but you are definitely more bitter than that ocean ever was. Hell, you're probably even saltier.
I did not cross that bitter ocean. Only to drown now.
I mean, you could. Just an idea.
What are we to do?
The only thing we can do. Swim.
What? Oh, she's real proud of that one. That's it. That's your big idea. Shut up. Oh, check it out. My new mouse mat came with the channel art on it. That's pretty cool, right? I have a very big mouse. Anyway, then cut to Halbrand, who's taking a break from dying just so he can flirt with Celebrimbor for a good 5 minutes or so. They're talking about metal and, the possibility of turning mithril into an alloy, something that Celebrimbor hadn't thought of before. The Celebrimbor?
An intriguing suggestion. Call it a gift.
It's a gift. Lord of Gifts. Definitely not Sauron. Okay, so back in Numenor, and Karl Marx has got, got a selection of the finest draftsmen and draftsman women as well, including Isildur's superfluous sister, of course, and each of them get to spend an hour with the king to, to draw him and stuff like that. And then, there's this, emotional sort of, inspirational music starts playing as it pans up to the king, who's just lying in bed, just straight up dead. He's just like...
Each of you will be granted 1 hour with the king. Use it well.
Just lying there, straight up dead, both feet in the grave. But, it's okay, because art,
I know what you have been doing in the dark of night when you thought all eyes were asleep.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so he's not dead, but he is a pervert. So the king thinks that Isildur's superfluous sister is the Queen Regent? Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see how you can mix those two up. But anyway, he thinks she's the Queen Regent and unlocks the door to the room that contains the Palantir. And that's not the only orb I'd like to see unveiling in that scene, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, I might be objectifying slightly, but boobs. Am I right?
I would not be standing here otherwise.
You should not be standing here at all.
True. So they're talking about what to make using the mithril, and, Celebrimbor being the little source that he is, he decides on a crown, of course, because yes, queen. Now, an argument could be made that this is subtle, but I don't know, it's just not subtle enough. So, Gil-galad is, he finds out that the idea was Halbrand's, so he's pressing Celebrimbor about it, and Celebrimbor says this.
His suggestions were but the key that unlocked the dam.
Now, that could have been a clever bit of writing, because, he's talking about Halbrand, but it also applies to the Sword Hills, the key that broke the dam. So, drawing parallels within the writing, that is actually quite clever. But then Galadriel shoots him that glance.
The key that unlocked the dam. We are on the cusp of crafting a new...
Now, it might not seem like much, but that one glance is enough to, that's a nudge to the audience to say, do you get it? Assume that your audience has the intelligence to infer these things.
I believe those are my words.
Was Halbrand with you? I need royal lineages, bloodlines, anything you can find on the Southlands.
Now, in the books, Galadriel was immediately distrustful of Annatar, aka Halbrand. But in the show, it's not until now we're starting to see that distrust with it. It's the last season of the series is when we start to see it. Only when it's spelled out for her, when it's completely laid out and explained to her, only then does she start to distrust him. Sure, this show might have turned it into some Xena warrior girl boss, but they've made her less insightful. Insight is possibly the most important characteristic of Galadriel. She's now Galadriel. There you go.
You are Lord Sauron.
So we're back with D12, and, so the ladies from Rune and not Gandalf, this whole story arc, the only reason it's here is to make people who've not read the books think that not Gandalf is Sauron. Cool, yeah, sure. I hope this isn't going to be a big waste of time. Spoiler alert, it is. Anyway, then the real Slim Shady stands up and hits not Gandalf with some, Middle-earth rehypnol, and, they tie him up. But it's okay, because the Harfoots, are there to save the day. So they try to rescue him. So they try to distract D12 with some bird calls. What? Who pulls a knife on an owl? Oh my god, they actually fell for that. And What? They're gonna go look for an owl? No, no wonder these people think that Gandalf is Sauron. They're thick as shit.
Sonic!
Take that back. They just threw a shuriken directly into Lenny Henry's heart. I mean, these guys really are the best. They've burnt all the Harfoot's houses down, and now they've killed off the first main-ish character. These guys are the best, man. Okay, so that transition was better than the first one, so what happened with the first one? And again, the sound design is just... It's just bad. Like, listen to that. I have not edited this clip in any way. What was that? One more time? Now that is how you make a dramatic impact right there. Again, I've not edited this at all. Listen to the sound when Gandalf hits the ground. What is that? That is comedic poop number 4 MP3. You try and defend the music and the sound design of this show all you want. I just have one sound to sum it all up. And honestly, every single action scene is just... I'm not going to bother breaking it down. Every single action scene is garbage. Absolute garbage. The plot armor is so thick, whenever anyone is about to die, whoever's about to do the killing will just pause for no reason. No good reason whatsoever. Their plot armor is so thick, they're all just walking around, just bumping into each other, going, sorry, sorry, sorry. Oh, and it turns out Lenny Henry isn't dead, and the Harfoots start fighting off D12 by throwing pebbles at them. I'm not making that up.
What have they done to you?
They showed me what I am.
Only you can show what you are.
What?
Only you can show what you are.
Only I can show what I are. Okay. Then, whilst Nori is trying to convince Gandalf to sort of get up and help them, she looks over, notices all her friends and family are about to be killed by Slim Shady, and she just ignores it. She just looks back and starts chatting again, like nothing happened. This is one of the most socially weird shows I've ever seen.
He is not Sauron. He is the other. Beast. He is...
I'm good.
Okay, Gandalf is just Groot at this point.
I'm good.
Then Gandalf turns D12 into a bunch of moths, and they all win. Yay. Not even joking. Oh wait, Lenny Henry does actually die. Oh. Oh, well, never mind. Hey, that's actually a nice looking shot. And people think I'm biased. Come on, that was a compliment. Just one, but still. It's a compliment. Then Galadriel confronts Halbrand about his identity and he starts messing with her mind.
You have been very brave. You have fought so hard to complete the task that I could not.
Tell me, do you know why a sock floats and a shoe sinks? How did that saying go? Galadriel knows that Halbrand is Sauron now and he's kind of explaining stuff to her, but like he wants to like get together with Galadriel. He wants to get jiggy with Galadriel.
You would make me a tyrant.
I would make you a queen.
A queen! Ah, it's Jon Snow all over again.
Fair as the sea and the sun, stronger than the foundations of the earth.
I see what they did there. I see what you did there. The scene where Frodo tries, offers Galadriel the ring, and she's talking the foundations of the earth. Yeah, I see what you did there. But whenever this show references it, though, I just feel like
keep my wife's name out your mouth.
You could kill him now. You could kill him right now. Right, you know who he is. You have a knife to his neck.
And the shadow
kill him.
spread.
Okay, never mind. Good to see the Celebrimbor's as flirty as ever.
Galadriel, you're as wet as a river rock.
Times our paths are laid before us by powers greater than our own.
Wait, hold on. Did I miss something? Did D12 have like some sort of power over his mind or something? Like Gandalf's awfully talkative all of a sudden.
You're part of something bigger now.
He needs you, and you belong out there.
Like, I thought he'd hung himself. Hey, that's what spending too much time with the Harfoots to do to you. And also, it turns out that when Harfoots get very emotional, it can be very hard to understand what they're saying.
Here you're heading in the big beyond and I haven't taught you blooming.
You fucking what?
Here you're heading in the big beyond and I...
Yeah, Yeah, same. Hey, that's a decent bro shake you got going on there. I'll have to try that out sometime. I mean, you know, shame I don't have any friends anymore because, you know, I watched this show.
When in doubt, Eleanor Brandyfoot.
No. I know what you're going to say. Don't say it. Don't say it.
Always follow your nose.
No. Then they finally finished the 3 Elven rings. They've changed the look of the rings. I mean, okay, Nenya looks nothing like it did in the Peter Jackson trilogy. But I mean, the other 2 look close-ish, but why? I mean, I guess that could be like a copyright thing. And then it ends with someone singing the poem of the One Ring. Not saying, singing the poem. I'm just not even going to go into that. I wish Amazon Prime would have never made this show. I wish that none of this would have happened.
So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All that we can decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
Do you want to know something? You know, I get quite a lot of comments saying things like, you know, thank you for watching the show so I don't have to. How on earth, you know, just sit through all of this? How'd you watch this show? Do you want to know something sad? Because I have to write notes and I actually have to write these videos, do you know how long it takes me, on average, to watch an episode of Rings of Power? Do you want to have a guess? 4 hours, approximately. This one took me over 4 hours to watch. But like, do the math. 8 episodes, all averaging an hour, times by 4. I've spent approximately 32 hours watching this first season. Never gonna get that time back. Now, I'm sure this is quite obvious, but I'm not the biggest fan of this show. But I have to say I do owe it something, because without this show, I wouldn't have the vast majority of my audience. And I understand that the show is now finished for however long, so I understand that quite a bit of my audience will now probably be disappearing. To those people, I just want to say thank you. But to everyone else who's going to stick around, don't worry. I've still got quite a few videos in the making. It's on to the next subject. I'm not going to stop making videos. And if you enjoyed these ones, best believe you'll probably enjoy my upcoming videos as well. So do make sure you stick around for them. Like and subscribe, bitch. And a huge shout out to Pozabon and Flunky, the top dogs. Thank you ever so much, guys. I really do appreciate your help. And also a big shout out to the Giga Chad, Steve the Goat, Dr. Melsky, Saeed, MG Virgil, Brennis, and Mott Maidens. And we're also welcoming Kanat, Dogramachi. I hope that's how you pronounce it. A brand new channel member. Welcome to the channel, my dudes. And thank you to every single one of the Tier 1 patrons and the channel members as well. Couldn't do it without you guys, man. Thank you so much for your support. That's it for now. But like I say, my videos will be continuing, so please do stick around. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video, which should be coming very soon. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, guys. And I'll see you real soon.